I orchestrated the perfect anniversary getaway for my wife, just the two of us. But when she insisted her closest friend accompany her, it all fell apart. I had it all mapped out. Everything. Months of mum saving, furtive emails, late-night phone calls after my wife had gone to bed in the adjacent room. Bali. 5 years of marriage. And I wanted to do something special for it. Not a vacation. Something she'd never forget. Private villa, massages, sunset dinner cruises, all booked and reserved. I imagined the smile on her face when I finally revealed it to her. That evening, I brought home her favorite takeout. She was on the couch, scrolling through her phone, as usual. I sat beside her, opened my laptop, and said, "Babe, I need you to see something." She looked over, sort of preoccupied at first, until she saw the itinerary. And then, at first, there was this smile. That big, shocked, genuine smile she doesn't give as frequently anymore. I live for that smile. "Oh my God, Bali," she exclaimed, eyes widening. "Are you kidding me?" I nodded. 5 years. I thought we deserved something special. She hugged me, kissed me. It was good, like all the tension and reserved fretting was worth it. But then, things shifted, not even 2 minutes after that. As she continued scrolling through the photos of the villa, she had this expression, sort of uncertain, almost culpable. And she said, "Hey, do you think Sarah can come with us?" I blinked, thought I'd misheard. "Wait, what?" She didn't laugh, just continued scrolling. "Sarah, you know, she's been having such a terrible time lately. That breakup really devastated her. I just feel bad leaving her here by herself." And there, right in that moment, right in that instant, my stomach fell. Because it wasn't a joke. I attempted to keep my tone steady. "Babe, this is supposed to be a honeymoon vacation. For us." I know," she said hastily. "But we do have the money. You could just upgrade the villa, you know? Get a 2-bedroom. It wouldn't be such a huge deal." I couldn't believe it. It wasn't even the money. Sure, I make good money. But that wasn't the issue. I'd been saving for months, planning this to the last detail. This wasn't a vacation. It was about us. About reconnecting. And now, she wanted her best friend in tow? "I don't think that's a good idea," I said diplomatically. "This was supposed to be between the two of us. Couples massages, sunset dinners, private pools. You really think that works if Sarah's there too?" She scowled. Her face hardened a bit. I don't want to leave her out. You know how bad her breakup was. And yeah, I didn't know. Sarah and her boyfriend had a breakup 2 months back. It was ugly. I know. I do. There's a line, isn't there? That evening didn't have a fight, per SC. But it didn't exactly end on a good note. She went to bed early. I spent the night staring at the villa pictures on my computer, wondering if I'd been a fool to plan all of this. She hardly spoke to me the next morning. And then Sarah began sending texts. Little things such as, "Hope I'm not ruining your romantic plans. It's just hard feeling excluded when I need support most." I didn't even reply at first. I didn't know what to say. By Sunday evening, I sat my wife down. I had to make it clear. "Look, I'll do whatever it takes to help Sarah. I can arrange a separate vacation for her. Pay for it even, or pay for therapy sessions if that's what she wants. But this Bali vacation, it's for us." She put her arms across her chest. Wouldn't even look at me. "You're being selfish." That hurt. I'm not the blow-up type. I don't yell, but I felt it rising in my chest. Being selfish, wanting a vacation with my own wife? Come on. She didn't respond. That evening, I slept on the couch. I just kept looking at the villa confirmation emails, thinking, did I really screw this up? Or was this one of those situations where whatever I did, I would be the bad guy? Monday morning, I woke to another text from Sarah. "It's fine. I wouldn't intrude. But just so you know, I thought we were family." Family. That's the word she said. I don't know. Maybe that's where this really started to feel wrong to me. Because I understand being close. I understand best friends. But family? It was like there was this entire other conversation going on behind my back. My wife and Sarah. Their own narrative. Their own reasoning. In the meantime, I was sitting there outside of it. I kept reliving everything. From that night, I proposed. To this. 5 years. We've had our share of fights before. Everyone does. But this, it felt larger. Like I was standing before a locked door. And the key I once believed I held didn't fit anymore. By Tuesday, I stopped trying to gloss it over. I told her again, calm, measured, that Sarah wasn't coming, that it wasn't negotiable. Her actual words, then maybe I don't want to go either. I didn't respond. I just want to work, feeling like I'd lost either way. And I couldn't help but wonder, was I actually the bad guy here? Or was I finally drawing a line? 5 years too late. The thing about silence, it weighs more when it's from someone you share a roof with. That whole week following the time I told her no regarding Sarah, the house seemed colder. My wife hardly spoke to me at all except under necessity. It wasn't the screaming or slamming doors. Just nothing. She'd cook for herself, sit at the kitchen counter in silence, scrolling through her phone. I'd be on the couch, played on my lap, acting like I wasn't even noticing. But I was. I saw everything. The way she'd breathe like I didn't exist. The way she'd respond with one-word answers if I asked her anything. And each evening, I'd log onto my email, staring at that villa reservation, thinking about canceling the whole thing. By Thursday evening, it all came to a head. We were brushing our teeth, side by side at the bathroom sink. That used to be our quiet moment. When we get caught up, exchange idiotic little things about our day. Now, complete silence other than the sound of toothbrushes. I put mine down, took a deep breath. Are we actually going to do this? I asked at last. She raised her eyes in the mirror. Hardly. Do what? Play like we don't even recognize each other. She made a small sound of annoyance, spitting out water. You're the one making it into a big deal. That caught me off guard, because I organized a romantic weekend for us and didn't invite your best friend in on it. Her face hardened. It's not about that, she said softly. It's about how easily you shut her out. Sarah's important to me. Important. The word stood there, crisp and acrid. I leaned on the counter, studying her reflection. You're important to me. That's why I did this. Why is that not enough? She didn't respond. Just took her towel and left. That was the night I realized this wasn't just about Sarah. Something had changed in our marriage, and perhaps it had been changing for some time. I couldn't sleep. I was lying there with my eyes on the ceiling, going over all the moments Sarah had been present. At our wedding, for holidays, for offhand movie nights. She wasn't some acquaintance. Sarah was. Always present, always included. And I kept asking myself, had I been in denial? Or was this just how things were, and I was just realizing it? That weekend, I figured I'd speak with someone about it. I want to have coffee with my friend Marcus. He's been married longer than I have. 8 years, 2 children. I explained everything, from the Bali vacation to Sarah. When I'd finished, he just sat there, stirring his coffee. Man, he said after a moment, that's not normal. I let out a breath, feeling some sort of strange relief just saying it out loud. So, I'm not crazy. Nah, look, I understand having a best friend. But if my wife ever did attempt to bring someone else along on our anniversary vacation. He shook his head. That's not about friendship. That's something different. What though? I said, what's the line? Marcus paused for a moment. The line is, when your marriage is no longer the priority. That stuck with me the entire drive home. I opened the door, and my wife was on the couch. Sarah's name lighting up on her phone screen. I had seen it across her shoulder. My stomach knot grew tighter. I coughed. She looked up, surprised like she hadn't been expecting me so soon. We need to talk, I told her. She narrowed her eyes. If this is about Bali again. It's not about Bali, I interrupted. It's about everything. She set her phone down slowly. Like what? Like how it feels like I don't even come first anymore. That caught her attention. She sat back against the couch, arms crossed. Already defensive. Where is this coming from? She asked. I shrugged hopelessly. From the fact that I arranged an entire trip for us. And you turned it into a thing about Sarah. From the fact that whenever there's ever a decision between you and her, I always feel like I lose. That's when her expression softened a little bit. I'm not trying to make you feel that way. But you are, I said softly, whether you intend to or not. Silence again. Only now it felt heavier. Finally, she said, Sarah's my best friend. She's been through so much. And what about us? I said, what about what we've been through? Doesn't that count? For a moment, I thought maybe she'd see sense. But instead, she just shook her head. You're making such a big deal out of this. That's when I knew this wasn't going to sort itself out. The next morning, I emailed the villa, asked to reschedule, or cancel. Just feeling the water. I didn't even inform her. But it didn't remain quiet for long. That afternoon, I received a text from Sarah. Guess you decided to call off the whole thing rather than compromising. Typical. Typical. That word. It bounced around in my head all day. Because why did Sarah already know? Had my wife informed her? Were they sitting on the couch side by side, plotting how to make me out to be the bad guy in this? That evening, I said nothing. I didn't even mention it. I just observed. Observed how my wife smiled a little bit more when her phone rang. Observed how quickly she checked it. I began to wonder if Sarah was even the entire story, or if there was something else I was missing. Sunday night, I couldn't keep it inside anymore. We were sitting at the table, silent, both of us fiddling with our food like strangers. I set my fork down, swallowed. Can I ask you a question? She looked up. What? Is there something between you and Sarah? The words sounded strange even as I spoke them. But once spoken, they couldn't be unsaid. Her eyes grew wide. What? Mean it. I said, calm down. Is there something I might want to know? She slapped her fork onto the plate. Are you kidding me right now? I'm not kidding. Her expression changed from stunned to enraged. That's beneath you, Michael. Even for you. I didn't say anything. Just looked at her. Then tell me. I said softly. Tell me why she's so high on the list. Why she matters more than me. She got up, scraping the chair against the floor. I can't believe you'd even ask me that. But she didn't say no. That's the part that lingered. She stormed up to the bedroom, slamming the bedroom door. I sat there by myself in the kitchen, hearing the sound reverberate throughout the house. And all I could think was, maybe this was already over, and I just hadn't accepted it yet. I didn't sleep that night. Not because we'd fought. We'd fought before. But because she never actually said anything. That's what kept rolling around in my head, over and over. She never said no. Around 3 in the morning, I got up, just sat in the living room in the dark, scrolling through old pictures on my phone. Pictures of us before, when things were easier, happier. I dug one out from our honeymoon. My wife laughing on some random beach. No makeup, sun in her hair. And it hit me. What did things change? Had it been gradual? Small cracks forming that I had neglected? Or was it just me being blind? By dawn, I'd come to a decision. I wasn't going to let this drag in the air anymore. I needed honest answers. So when she finally came downstairs, hair pulled back, eyes still puffy from sleep, I didn't hesitate. I was over by the kitchen counter. Morning, I said softly. She didn't respond. Just opened a coffee mug as if nothing had occurred. We need to wrap this up, I said. She took a deep breath. Michael. No. I shook my head. I mean it. I can't live like this. If there's something you want to say, say it. Her hands shook a little as she poured coffee. Not quite enough that anyone else would even see, but I did. She stood there in silence for a very long time before putting the mug down and leaning against the counter. Sarah kissed me once. That's what she said. Just let fall like a stone between us. I froze. What? Her voice was tiny. It was months ago, before Bali, before you even booked the trip. I swallowed hard, my belly twisting up. Why are you just now telling me? Because nothing happened after, she replied hastily. I shut it down. We never discussed it again. I kissed her, struggling to make sense. But she kissed you. Yeah. And suddenly, everything made sense. The way she kept jumping to Sarah's defense. The way Sarah kept inserting herself everywhere. It wasn't about a friend in need of support. It was about guilt. I grasped the back of a chair, holding on. Are you ever going to tell me? I said. She closed her eyes. I don't know. That was more painful than the kiss. Silence filled the air. Heavy. Choking. I drew a slow breath. Okay. Okay, she repeated, bewildered. Okay. I understand now. And I did. That since I'd had for weeks, like I was the third wheel in my own marriage, it wasn't in my head. It was real. But saying it out loud, it hit differently. I packed a bag that afternoon. Didn't tell her immediately. Started folding clothes instead. Toothbrush. Chargers. Essentials. She caught me halfway. In the doorway. Where are you going? I don't know yet. I replied truthfully. Someplace that's not here. Tears rose into her eyes. Michael, please don't do this. I need space. But we can work through this. I zipped the bag closed. I don't know if we can. I didn't say it to hurt her. I said it because it was true. When trust shatters like that, when priorities become mangled, sometimes it doesn't just reform. Before I left, I added one more thing. For what it's worth, I wish you'd told me sooner. She didn't follow me out the door. I stayed over at Marcus that night. Fell asleep on his couch. Just sitting there, holding a beer, staring at the ceiling. He didn't have much to say. Just left me alone. I woke up the next morning with 50 missed calls. From her. From Sarah. That part repulsed me. Sarah had the audacity to text me like everything was fine. Hey, I didn't mean for things to blow up like this. Can we talk? Talk. I ignored it. Deleted the entire thread. That day, I drove all the way out to the coast. No idea where I was going. Just driving. Musing over how 5 years of marriage could dissolve so quickly. And trying to figure out what I was supposed to do next. By the time I returned to town, my wife had texted again. Please come home. We need to talk. So I did. Because no matter anything, I still owed her that much. When I returned through the door, she was on the couch. Same place as usual. Only this time, she was smaller, quieter. She didn't say anything at first. Just observe as I put down my bag. Finally, she broke the silence. I am sorry. 2 words. I waited. I should have told you. About Sarah. About everything. I remained standing. Arms crossed. Why didn't you? She wiped at her face. Because I was scared. I didn't want to ruin us. I let out a bitter laugh. You mean like what's happening now? She didn't argue. And I'll be honest. In that moment, I wasn't sure if we could come back from it. But I also wasn't ready to call it over. Not yet. So we sat there for hours. Talking. For real this time. No more cold shoulders. No more acting like nothing was wrong. We spoke of the kiss. Of Sarah's place in our marriage. Of a trip to Bali. And at its conclusion, I uttered the words I'd been carrying around for weeks. I don't think I can keep Sarah in my life. My wife's face contorted, but she didn't protest. I understand, she said softly. She's been my best friend since. Forever. But maybe that's exactly the problem. I didn't respond. Just gaze at the floor. Because the truth was, I had no idea where things were going from there. All I knew was, things couldn't stay the way they were. Not after all that. We didn't resolve everything that night. That's probably what took me most by surprise. You always imagine big moments have some sort of dramatic line. Like in the movies, it's over, or let's start over. But it wasn't like that. It was quieter. Slower. After that long conversation on the couch, we both just sat there for a while. Not holding hands. Not even really touching. Just sitting side by side, looking at nothing. That's what marriage sometimes, I suppose. Not fireworks. Not screaming. Just quiet. The next day, we made coffee in the morning like normal. Except it wasn't normal. She didn't say a word. Neither did I. But there was this weight between us that refused to budge. It was no longer angry, only exhausted. By the second day, I finally uttered the words aloud. I'm going to stay at Marcus's for a little bit. Her fingers went numb halfway through stirring her coffee. Okay, she spoke softly. That was all. No pleading. No tears. And somehow, that stung more than if she had attempted to hold me back. When I took my bag and walked out the door, she came after me to the hallway. I truly am sorry, she said once more, her voice gentle. For everything. I nodded. I wanted to reply, something that didn't sound like goodbye, but I couldn't make myself. So I just told him, take care of yourself, and left. I ended up staying at Marcus's for roughly a week. Long enough to get my head on straight. My wife didn't text during that time much. Just once or twice. Not clingy, just, I hope you're okay. For real, though, I appreciated the space. I needed it. A lot of nights that week, I just drove around after work. Thinking. And perhaps that's dramatic sounding. But when you reach a place where everything is cracked, sometimes that's all you can do. Just drive. One evening, I found myself at the beach. Same location we went on our honeymoon. Didn't intend to. My head just went there. I sat on the hood of my truck, looking out at the waves, remembering that trip with her. When things were simple. When I thought love was supposed to be about fixing everything together. And maybe it does. I don't know. But I learned something significant that night. I can't be the only one fixing everything. It has to be both ways. The following day, I phoned her up. We got together at a coffee shop. Neutral territory. She was already there when I walked in. No makeup, hoodie, boom. For some reason, that struck me more than if she'd come in all dressed up. It was honest. I sat down opposite her. We didn't say anything for a minute. Just sat, stirring coffee, listening to the soothing hum of the shop. Eventually, she broke the silence. I cut Sarah off. That caught me. Told her I needed space. For real this time. I examined her face. She wasn't saying it like some great big move. Just fact. She didn't take it well, she said softly. But I did mean it. I let that sit for a moment. And it did help. Not gonna lie. Hearing that. But it didn't undo everything. I don't mean we could just go back, I told her deliberately. I need to trust you. That's gonna take some time. She nodded. For the first time in weeks, I felt like we were even. On the same page. That night, I didn't go home. But I didn't feel like I had to stay away from it for good, either. We began dating again a couple of times a week. No pressure. No acting like everything had somehow magically been resolved. Just beginning again. And it wasn't easy. There were still tough days. Moments where I'd look at her staring at her phone and wonder, was it Sarah? Was it something else? But every time I questioned, and she'd tell me, truthfully, that was new for us. A month later, we took another vacation. Not Bali, just a weekend trip up the coast. Basic hotel, no frills. But this time, just the two of us. And that counted. No third wheel. No ender la intención. Just us, making it work. One evening, we were sitting on the balcony, watching the sun set. And she turned to me. I don't deserve you, she said softly. I almost made her stop. Not to say things like that. But rather than that, I just blurted. We both screwed up. Because that's the truth. Perhaps she might hurt me with Sarah. But I wasn't perfect either. I'd had things build up over years. Dodged tough conversations. Like to pretend everything was okay when it wasn't. Marriage isn't about one of us always being right. It's about learning how to keep going together, even when things get messy. So that's where we're at now. Not flawless. Not faking, though. Trying, though. And really, that's good enough for me. For the moment. If you've ever felt torn between love and loyalty, you know what this feels like. Hit that subscribe if you want more stories like this.